Alright, so this is a reaction video, yeah, or review should I say, but before we get into that, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification because you never know the video you suggest might just be next. Follow the Thealkebulantrust on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff there. Now, this is a review on the album The Course of the Inevitable. Now, it was inevitable that one day, just one day, we were going to hear from Lloyd again. I knew he wasn't going to be gone for long. However, it's still a surprise and shocking to me that he released something. Now, it's an independent thing, so big him up for that. But yeah, and after he left the unit, I don't know what was going on. Do you know what I mean? So let's just get into it. So the artwork, it's got him, I believe it's his hand, and holding a little youth that basically looks like him. It's in black and white, so I guess that's the thing of letting you know that this album is going to be basically black and white. It's either you get it or you don't, but he's a lyricist. There's going to be some things that flow over your head, yeah? But anyway, so before you even get into that, right, basically I saw a notification the other day on my phone saying Lloyd Banks' album, The Course of the Inevitable, is available to listen. And I was like, yo, because at first I found out about the album because of Joe Budden, because he mentioned on his podcast, innit? I'm like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this, innit? Like, I'm genuinely looking forward to this. And I'm trying to see if I can actually find the notification, so I can actually show you. But it's probably on my other phone, it's on my other phone. So I probably could take a screenshot of it and share it. If it's no longer there, then it's no longer there. But I saw the notification, I'm like, rah. Then I saw other albums that were released, like Lil Baby and featuring Lil Durk or whatever. So I'm like, how come they never notified me about that? It's the algorithms, because the algorithms know that I listen to music with lyricists. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So anyway, let's just get into the tracks. There is 18 tracks, right? So there's Propane, Sidewalks, Empathy featuring Freddie Gibbs, but I call him Gibbs, Gibbs. Then there's the song Early Exit featuring Rock Marcy. Then there's the song Formalide Hyde featuring Benny the Butcher, them in New York. Then there's the song Death by Design. Then there's Food featuring Styles P, another New York. Crown. Then there's Falsified featuring Ransom. Not Ransom is a FA or FA Ransom, because he's like a UK artist really. But this one's clearly American. I say clearly, it's not if it's not that clear. But then there's the song Break Me Down. Then there's some Commitment. Then there is Pain, Pressure, and Paranoia. Then there's Stranger Things. Then there's Drop 5. Then there's Panic featuring Ari the Kid. Then there's Smoke and Mirrors. Then there's Dishonorable Discharge. Then there's COTI, which is the acronym for... No, it isn't a COTI. Yeah, it's the acronym of Course of the Inevitable. But yeah, so long story short with this album, first of all, if you like lyricism, you will like this album. Plain and simple. If you like that East Coast sound, like especially from the early 2000 era, you will like this album. That's not to say that he sounds outdated or anything, because he doesn't. But it's a thing of, for me, with music, it's a thing where you can place a feeling and a time and all that stuff there where, alright, boom, this is the zone that we're going to be in with this. You know what I mean? And I can rock with that. You know what I mean? This is that zone. This is, you know what I mean? Like, you know what you're getting with that artist. So it's interesting that he doesn't have to try and do UK drill rhythms, or because there's a lot of New York artists that are using UK drill rhythms. Do you see what I mean? So this is why I mentioned that. So he doesn't have to like step up on those type of tracks. He's just sticking to what he knows best, and that's what works for him. Yeah, so big up Blue Ethno, aka Lloyd Banks. Um, there are a few tracks on here that made me like think, excuse me, is this guy not taking a shot at 50, but he's releasing what's on his mind? Like, so I looked at it and I'm thinking, nah, this don't make sense. He's not having a go at 50. Like, I want you to understand something, yeah? I want to try and see if I can put it up. Because I was shocked, yeah? Because there is a few tracks on here where you're like, nah, you have to be talking about 50. Has to. Like, but then it's like, he's one of those artists. Let me see if I can put it up. He's just one of those artists where, you see, when it comes to music, or put it this way, he took, like, everything, rather than doing interviews, what they do is they put their albums, they put their feelings, their emotions, or whatever they've gone through, or what they gone through or going through in their music. Like Jay-Z, he's one of those guys. Like, he rarely does interviews, but everything he more or less feels, or whatever the case, of anything, he puts in his music. So I'm looking forward to a Jay-Z album. Apparently there was one meant to be released in 2020, but because of the whole pandemic situation, unfortunately, that never got released. But that's fine. When it comes out, when it comes out and it gets released, it gets released. I'm trying to look at the I'm trying to see if I can actually, what tune is it? Alright, so one tune for certain. Oh, you know what? Oh, where is it? I think it's Pain, Pressure, and Paranoia. No, it's not that then. Oh, where is it? Alright, put it this way, the Stranger Things. Where is it? I'm trying to look for the lyrics. Yeah. So in Stranger Things, oh, I just completely got off it. Where's the bit he meant about click? Alright, so he says, I'm gonna start from the top, yeah? He says, if I ain't there to have your back, I'm either dead or I'm sick. When your fucked up behavior turns to regular quick. Okay, that part I don't think he's talking about 50, but I just think that's a general thing, right? Then he says, sometimes the pressure overwhelms when you're the head of the clique. Yeah? But don't get ahead of yourself. I ain't benefit shit. Nobody sees your vision until you're successful. To become a success will validate that you are special. There ain't a pain reliever strong enough. Life is stressful. Learn to put your faith in God. That's who's gonna protect you. Don't ever bite the hand that feeds you. That's disrespectful. But if what's in your hand deceives you, now you are regretful. I brought integrity though through every area the jet flew. It's like I see a stranger, nothing like when I met you. At this point, I don't care to keep a friend again. When you get on, they checking in. That ain't genuine. Or when you get on, they're checking in. Okay, whatever. Cool. Change my whole perception now that I'm remembering. Got a big safe of favors that I'll never lend nothing forever. So, do you see what I mean? So, not how to explain it. You gotta listen to it the way he says it. Don't listen to how I'm saying it. But to me, that does seem like that is a shot at 50. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he's dissing him. I'm just saying he's letting off what's on his mind. But there's another song where he mentioned something different as well about. We mentioned about what song was it? He mentioned something about lazy. I think it's I forgot what it was. I can't remember what song it was, but basically, I only heard that apparently Lloyd Banks is lazy because of 50. You know what I mean? Like, he mentions about, he got a tattoo, on his hand or whatever, saying lazy Lloyd or whatever the case is. He's like, that's not me saying it, that's him saying it. You see what I mean? It reminds me of even though I don't think he meant any malice out of it, you know what I mean? But I feel like 50 is like, he's like Charlemagne the God, you know what I mean? He don't mind playing the protagonist. Do you know what I mean? Like, or the antagonist, whatever you want to call it. It's like, it's a thing where, even though they would mean well, like, for example, there was a situation where Charlemagne the God mentioned something about, basically, Kwame Brown's name was mentioned in someone else's podcast, whatever the case is. And he's like, no, don't be talking about Kwame Brown this way, because then he went off into one. You know what I mean? He's like, he said something where he's like, this is why you shouldn't be playing with their name like that. Yeah? And it backfired on him. Do you see what I mean? Now, there's a reason why he said that, but he shouldn't be saying that. He went too far. Sometimes if you're telling someone to do something or not do something, you don't need to go into detail to why they should do it. Just say, listen, don't mention their name, boom, boom, boom. Just keep it simple as that. Do you know what I mean? Just respect them. Oh, they will come after you and let you know about, you know what I mean? You don't have to go into detail and be like, because of this or that. So that's the same thing I felt like with what 50 done. Like, he went off into certain details of how Lloyd Banks' character maybe is. Like, I'm not saying it is that way because I don't know Lloyd Banks personally, innit? And obviously 50 and Lloyd Banks have been friends since they were youths, innit? So what do I know? He knows him more. He knows him better than him, but at the same time, not really. You see what I mean? Because you could be around someone for years, but you never really know who that person is. You see what I mean? Like, so obviously, if something happens and they react in a different way than you expected, then that's where there's going to be, sometimes there could be friction, which is what I believe happened. Yeah? So, you know what I mean? And I think he mentioned something like that in one of the tracks. I think he mentioned, what track was it? I can't remember what track it is. This is what made me think, nah, he had to be talking about 50. There's been a couple tracks like that made me think, nah, he's talking about 50. Has to be. But I could be wrong. He could be just generalizing. But that part there, that has to be about 50. Who's the head of the clique? 50, right? Alright then. But maybe I could be wrong. Anyway, I'm gonna give this album 10 out of 10 anyway, because I like his flow, I like the rhythm, like the productions. I like the fact that he just expressing how he feels and what's on his mind, and it's just good to hear from Lloyd Banks. Get me? And he's got a few bars in there that definitely flew over my head, but all of them have playback value as well. So make sure you go stream that album, buy that album, especially because it's independent. You know what I mean? And I like the fact that I saw a screenshot that he shared where he was currently number 1 on iTunes or whatever the case is. And Young Buck was also enjoying it, and his latest release was also number 1 when they released it on the day of the release, whatever, like number 1. So I like to see that. That just shows you that they can do things without 50 Cent. Yeah, because they always say you need 50 Cent, blah blah blah. No, they can do things on their own. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's not disrespect 50. Get me? Because without 50, you wouldn't know these two. But get me? It is what it is. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification, because you never know the video you just might be next. But the link to the album is in the description box below as well. Definitely go listen to that album. All right.